There's a certain type of person who will never reject you. They won't say they're not interested. They won't say they don't want a relationship. Instead, they do something much more subtle. They waste your time. They keep the conversation alive. They respond occasionally. They show just enough interest to keep hope alive. But somehow, months pass, maybe even years, and nothing actually happens. No commitment, no real relationship, just a strange emotional limbo. You are not together, but you're not completely apart either. And the most confusing part is this. From the outside, it almost looks like something is building, but in reality, you're standing still, emotionally waiting, while the other person quietly moves on with their life. This kind of dynamic is more common than most people realize. And today we're going to talk about the dark psychology behind it. Why some people keep others around without ever truly choosing them. Why intelligent people still fall into these time-wasting relationships. And most importantly, how to recognize the pattern before months or years quietly disappear. Because sometimes, the biggest heartbreak in relationships isn't rejection. It's wasted time, the time-wasting relationship. Not every relationship ends with a clear no. In fact, many modern dating situations end with something far more confusing. Ambiguity. A time-wasting relationship exists when two people maintain emotional contact, but the relationship never progresses. Plans are discussed, but rarely happen. Feelings are hinted at, but never clearly expressed. The connection floats somewhere between friendship and romance. And the strange part is this. Both people may believe something might eventually happen, but one person usually knows the truth. They know they are not truly committed. They know the relationship is not moving forward, yet they keep the connection alive. Why? Because even minimal emotional attention can still provide benefits. And that leads us to the psychology behind this behavior. Why some people drag others along. At first glance, time-wasting behavior can seem cruel. But in many cases, it's driven by psychological needs rather than malicious intent. One of the most powerful motivations behind this behavior is something called ego validation. Humans have a deep desire to feel wanted, to feel admired, to feel important. When someone expresses interest in us, it activates the brain's reward system, compliments, attention, emotional investment. All of these provide psychological reinforcement. So when someone knows another person cares about them, they may unconsciously keep that connection alive. Not because they want a relationship, but because they enjoy the feeling of being valued. It becomes a form of emotional reassurance, almost like keeping a mirror nearby that constantly reflects admiration. And the cost? Very small. A message every few days. Occasional flirting. A vague promise about meeting in the future. Just enough effort to maintain the connection, but never enough effort to build something real. Another motivation is convenience. Keeping someone emotionally available creates a safety net. If loneliness appears, there's someone to talk to. If another relationship fails, there's someone who still cares. This dynamic sometimes turns people into emotional backup options. Not intentionally, perhaps, but functionally. And once someone becomes a backup option, their time and emotional energy begin quietly disappearing. The victims rarely notice the exhibit until they've already been inside it for months. Why victims keep investing? Now here's the deeper psychological question. If someone is clearly wasting your time, why stay? Why keep responding? Why keep hoping? The answer lies in a powerful psychological bias known as the sunk cost fallacy. The sunk cost fallacy describes our tendency to continue investing in something simply because we have already invested time or effort. Imagine watching a terrible movie. You're halfway through. It's boring, predictable, not enjoyable. But instead of turning it off, you keep watching. Because you've already spent an hour on it, so you might as well finish it. Relationships can trigger the same mental trap. If someone has spent months talking to a person sharing emotions, imagining a future walking away can feel like admitting all that time was wasted. So instead, people wait longer. And the longer they wait, the harder it becomes to leave. Another factor is hope. Time-wasting relationships rarely look hopeless. Instead, they look almost promising. There are occasional good conversations, occasional emotional moments, small signals that suggest something might eventually change. And those small signals can be incredibly powerful, because hope keeps people invested, even when reality shows little progress. Signals someone is wasting your time. So how can you recognize this dynamic before months disappear? There are several warning signs. Signal 1, endless talking, no action. The conversation continues. But plans never materialize, or plans get cancelled repeatedly. Interest exists in words, not behavior. Signal are vague future promises. They talk about meeting, about spending time together, about maybe someday. But details remain blurry, and that someday keeps moving, further away. Signals sound you feel emotionally stuck. Perhaps the most important signal is emotional stagnation. You feel like you are waiting for clarity, waiting for commitment, waiting for the relationship to finally become real. But waiting can quietly become a lifestyle. 第五部分如何退出模式 Breaking free from time-wasting relationships requires one uncomfortable realization. Attention is not commitment, conversation is not progress, and interest is not the same. As intention, real relationships move forward. They involve effort, consistency, time investment, and clear decisions. If someone truly wants to be with you, their actions will eventually make that clear. Not perfectly, but consistently. And if months pass with no progress, the silence itself becomes information. Sometimes the healthiest decision is simply this: stop waiting, because time is one of the most valuable resources we have, and the people who deserve it most are the ones who are willing to invest theirs too. Final thought: the most dangerous relationships are not always the ones that break your heart. Sometimes they are the ones that quietly waste your time, because heartbreak heals, but lost time never comes back. So the next time someone keeps you in emotional limbo, ask yourself one simple question: are we building something, or am I just waiting? Because the difference between those two answers can determine years of your life.